Hi, my name's Dick Howe. Today I traveled to Lawrence. As a tourist, I think for the first time. I'd been there on business before. I went to attend a program at the Lawrence Heritage State Park on the Bread and Roses strike of 1912. Part of the program was a short walking tour of downtown Lawrence. I took some pictures and I just want to talk to you about them. The strike occurred in January 1912. The state legislature had just passed a law reducing the maximum hours that women and children could work from 56 to 54 hours per week. Friday, January 12th, was the first payday after the implementation of this law, and the mill workers in Lawrence were anxious to see whether their wages were going to be reduced in proportion to the two less hours that they had to work per week. Well, their wages were reduced, and the workers went out on strike. The strike began at the Washington Mills, which was owned by the American Woolen Manufacturing Company, and it spread to other mills throughout the city. On Monday, January 14th, a large crowd of striking workers gathered at the gate of the Pacific Mills, which was adjacent to the Washington Mills. And when they gathered there, the workers, the night watchmen inside the Pacific Mills, took a fire hose and sprayed the striking workers who were blocking the entrance with water. And remember, it was in January and it was only 10 degrees that day. Also, a company of state militia, what we would call the National Guard today, also arrived on the scene and drove away the strikers from the gate of the mills at bayonet point. The strike went on for almost 2 months, and eventually the mill owners relented. One of the turning points of the strike occurred in late February, early March. Many of the striking workers had begun sending their children to the homes of other workers in other parts of the country, such as New York City and Philadelphia, and that got a lot of positive publicity for these strikers. So on this particular day, a procession of women with their children were going to the train station, which was not part of our tour today, but the police blocked the path to the train station. And when the women tried to get past the police reacted by hitting them with their clubs. This got a lot of bad publicity for the authorities and the mill owners, and the strike was quickly settled after that. And there were also congressional hearings that occurred. Even though there were a lot of armed men running around, both with the militia and presumably the strikers had some weapons available to them, only 2 people died in this strike. And one of the questions we discussed at this program was why the violence hadn't escalated more than it did. Just general impressions of Lawrence as we walked around. It really looked very nice, at least the downtown parts that we saw. We walked by the relatively new Judicial Center. It's called the Fenton Judicial Center. We also saw the old Superior Court, which is across the street from Lawrence City Hall. And we spent some time on Essex Street, which is the main street in downtown Lawrence. And the buildings were all kept up, and the city was clean, and there was a lot of traffic and a lot of cars parked. The Lawrence Heritage State Park Visitor Center is very nice. There's a lot of interesting information there. If you have a chance to go and see it, I'd urge you to do so.